Hi, my name is Eugene Baldovino, and I'm finally back with another art house film analysis. This one is about an image system that most viewers rarely notice in cinema, and it was artfully used in the Here's Not Here episode of The Walking Dead, featuring Morgan's evolution from a disturbed individual who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder and transcended the time and space of his trauma and now lives in the present as a peaceful warrior. This episode came out of nowhere and had an art house vibe. Film director Stephen Williams used both an external and internal image system to further enhance the storytelling. Internal image systems are magical and profound when you pick up on it in a movie or theatrical play, but much more harder to notice. So I'll talk about that one a little later. But please stick with me, it'll open up a whole new respect for film directing, screenwriting, and production design. External image systems tend to be more obvious when you see them. Orchids, the goat, the rabbit's foot are examples of an external image system. Basically, those items are strategically placed throughout the film with a symbolic meaning that already exists externally from the story. The rabbit's foot is an obvious symbol of luck, a reversal of fortune and protection. The orchid symbolizes the power to bloom in any condition. It's a symbol of love. When Morgan reacts to this positively, it shows us, the audience, that he's not completely lost in pain. Otherwise, he would have walked past it like it was nothing. So this was foreshadowing some hope for his character. The goat has many meanings across different cultures, and in the context of this story, it symbolized insecurity when he met her out in the open, and Satan when it was locked up in the cell, and eventually sacrificed when a walker fed on it. Basically, it represented how we are all connected and evolve in the vicious and beautiful circle of life. Now, here comes the juicy stuff, the internal image system. I'm going to take a moment to shut my trap up and let the film speak for itself.
It's all a circle and everything gets a return.
Unlike an external image system where the symbolic meaning of an item already exists outside of a story and means the exact same thing within it, an internal image system creates the meaning of its symbol internally within the story. Its meaning is unique. The image of a circle is embedded throughout the entire film, thus becoming what is called in the creative arts a motif, something that's recurring. Because the image of the circle is present throughout the entire story, the meaning is developed over time, and hints of that meaning can be derived from where it was strategically placed. When taken together as a whole, all the individual meanings of the circle create a unique thematic identity, which is obviously more complex than an external image system because it has so many more layers to its meaning. Watch the episode of Here's Not Here of The Walking Dead a second time around now that you're aware of its internal image system. Now every time you see that circle, it'll bring up memories of tragedy, hope, the cycle of life, etc., taking your experience to another level.
Jenny and Dwayne.
A fantastic director like Stephen Williams will make sure that the internal image system is subliminal. Because if it is too obvious, then it can become predictable and comical. Imagine if we kept seeing an image of a rabbit foot pop up every time Eastman or Morgan killed a walker. That would be ridiculous. When symbolism is subliminal, it enters the realm of dreams. Sometimes dreams can illuminate or haunt us with crazy imagery, and when a movie does that, it becomes something spiritual. So, I grew up doing martial arts, everything from Wing Chun Kung Fu, Judo, and Capoeira, so I was all about the philosophy in books such as The Art of War and The Book of Five Rings. In episode 1 of season 6, I think a case could be made that Rick follows The Art of War, which details very specific strategies for defeating armies.
That's an army out there.
Rick is consumed with strategizing and executing a plan to destroy his enemies, which is currently the army of walkers from the quarry. In episode 2 of season 6, we see how Carol may be inspired by Miyamoto Musashi, who wrote the Book of Five Rings, which details physical and mental techniques on how to effectively cut down an opponent. Miyamoto Musashi was a badass swordsman who went on a rampage all over Japan and perfected the double weapon technique with a large sword and a short sword, and won over 60 duels. Carol uses both a gun and a knife and killed a whole lot of wolves. In episode 3 of season 6, we learn to hate Nicholas. But if you see Nicholas from the perspective that just like Morgan, he suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of things begin to make sense, like his overly anxious attitude to take action, how he drifted away mentally at times, and a bit of agoraphobia that he exhibited. If you have an anxiety disorder or know anyone who has PTSD, then you're aware of mental loops that keep repeating over and over again, and this is shown symbolically as Nicholas's character goes through a maze, kind of like the main character in Inception, and he can't seem to find a way out. He's doing the same thing over and over again, and through that environment, Glenn's post-apocalyptic cognitive behavioral therapy helps him out of this mental loop. Walkers being the external stimuli Nicholas is actively addressing, and Glenn is being the therapist and directing his recovery.
Hey, you are here now. You are not that guy anymore.
Ultimately, at the end of his psychological and physical maze, Nicholas's PTSD mental loop is stopped in the most dramatic Walking Dead fashion.
Thank you.
And then we come to episode 4 of season 6, which of course is Morgan with PTSD. Out of nowhere, there's a shot of mushrooms in the woods. I think it's important to point out that there's been a resurgence in research of psilocybin mushrooms being able to treat anxiety, depression, and addiction. And is that goat eating what I think it's eating? Maybe there's a special ingredient in his goat cheese. Eastman does express a stream of associations with Morgan.
Your body's here, but your mind is still there.
And has the munchies.
You coming?
I didn't direct this episode of The Walking Dead. I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing here. Please don't do illegal drugs to cure your PTSD. The most effective treatment is cognitive behavioral therapy. Anyway, so Morgan has PTSD and uses the art of peace to fix his head. Its philosophy is described as a counterpoint to the art of war and a book of 5 rings. The art of peace is a collection of quotes by Morihei Ueshiba, a martial artist who defeated a high-ranking swordsman by avoiding all his attacks while unarmed, and experienced a transcendent state. Just the idea of martial arts is confusing. Why learn to fight when it's ideal to strive for peace? Why not just learn to be peaceful? Well, Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, believed that war was inevitable and a matter of life or death. If you think about it, as long as humans and animals possess emotional ability to love and hate, have joy and anger, the possibility exists that an opponent will want to hurt you. So you need to know how to defend yourself.
Please don't kill me!
Or support a police force or military to protect you. So martial arts embodies the extreme form of these complementary forces of shadow and light, evil and justice. Even though The Art of War is a manual for death and destruction, Sun Tzu peppers it with advice that's just as thought-provoking as The Art of Peace. Take this for example. To fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. And even though the Book of 5 Rings is a Zen guide to violence, Miyamoto Musashi ends with the Book of Void. Take this for example. People in this world look at things mistakenly and think that what they do not understand must be the void. This is not the true void, it's bewilderment. And skipping down further. In the void is virtue and no evil. Wisdom has existence. Principle has existence. The way has existence. Spirit is nothingness. What I think Miyamoto Musashi is trying to say is that the Bible, politics, science, all these things describe the world in a way that brings order and meaning to life. But if you embrace what cannot be understood, your sense of reality is widened. For example, I personally have come to believe in a creator, but if a creator created me, then who created that creator? And you can just keep going on into infinity, into nothingness. By being present in that void, it allows one to destroy your enemy without guilt, or accept your most evil enemy and encourage peace. That to me is what the Book of Void is, and the goal of martial arts. Well, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a few more films that I want to analyze for you guys, and I do have one about how I came to believe in a creator that involves experiencing a tesseract like the one in Interstellar. And if you thought my explanation for internal symbolism of The Walking Dead Here's Not Here episode was eye-opening, please take a look at my video Prometheus Mind-Blowing Analysis, where I explore the external symbolism taken to the extreme. So please subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear your evil or peaceful comments below. Are you an extreme conservative and believe in Rick's methods that are similar to the art of war? Standing on the defensive indicates insufficient strength. Attacking, a superabundance of strength. Or maybe you're more of an extreme liberal and believe in Morgan's path and embracing the art of peace. The art of peace is the principle of non-resistance. Because it is non-resistant, it is victorious from the beginning. Those with evil intentions or contentious thoughts are instantly vanquished. The art of peace is invincible because it contends with nothing. One last thing, even though I'm an editor for the Talking Dead TV show, I get to cut the In Memoriam and Inside the Dead videos. The views I express in this video do not reflect the views of AMC Studios or the creators of The Walking Dead. I did this outside of my job responsibilities. I did this as a fan of The Walking Dead, and I wanted to share my obsession for the art of film.